What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Lotus J, and we live at the Vibe, HighVibe Media and Marketing Group. This is our Tuesday night show, The Black of the Berry. We got a whole lot of blackberries at the table tonight, and you're going to get to know all of them. I'm kind of hyped about this show for a couple different reasons. One, because I love seeing all these people at the table. Two, because look at this beautiful Kwanzaa display. We're going to tell you all about that. This beautiful queen, sister, doctor, mother, princess is going to school us tonight. So get ready for that. And three, I'm going to switch places in a little bit. And my son, Ikemen, is going to sit in the seat. And we're going to have a great show tonight. So what's shaking, everybody? I need y'all to introduce yourselves. We're going to give me a little bit. Because there's a whole lot of people at the table, so a little bit, for real, a little bit. Whatever you want to tell folks, and then we're going to get into our show. Okay? Yeah. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Hi, guys. My name is Dyer. I am a 20-year-old actress. This is my first time being on the podcast, so this is a new experience that I am excited to be a part of.
Well, welcome.
Wonderful. There you go.
My name, I don't even know if I should be talking into it like that, but my name is Melanie, and I don't know what direction I should be looking in.
You're good.
Okay. I'm Melanie. I'm 20 years old as well, and I am pursuing to be an architect. Hopefully that plans out, so there's that.
That's exciting.
Oh, hey, guys. So this is Lemone, and this is my first time on this podcast, and my brother Zion is orchestrating this event right now. And I just want to let you guys know that I'm here for peace, love, and harmony.
With that very white voice. All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Ikemen Ba. I'm 20 years old. I'm a stage actress, but I'm trying to get into podcasts. So I'm starting a show soon called Speak Up, and it's going to be on the HighVibe Live Media Network. So you guys look out for that.
Whoop, whoop. And then I need my sisters.
Well, hello, fam. This is Solar. Y'all
What's
know
up,
who I
Solar?
am.
What's going
With the
on?
black
What was
and the
going
bag.
on? You had an eventful weekend.
Man.
Can we hear a little bit, just the stuff that is okay to tell?
Okay, so I went to I was at Hotel Zaza, and they have this little club in there, and it's really kind of like ritzy and very like a mixed crowd.
Y'all was cute.
Thank you.
Y'all cute.
Thank you.
They didn't invite me.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm okay with it, but it is very true. Now, I'm just playing. They know I'm always at work.
Yeah, because I start feeling bad in the inside, like, oh my god. But it was interesting. I mean, considering like my personality, and when I tell you it was like ritzy and
diverse and very different.
Yeah, very different. So I had to.
Did you feel out of place?
I didn't feel out of place. I just didn't.
It was new.
Yeah, it was just new. I didn't feel out of place because I always feel like, I'm very confident in who I am. And plus, I was cute that night. So.
There you go.
You was real cute.
There you go.
I wasn't, but the environment was just different. It's not an environment that I'm normally in. And people are too friendly, I guess.
Yeah.
And too all over you. And I didn't really like that part. But we had a lot of fun. So that was Saturday. And then on Sunday... I'm gonna keep this PG. We went.
Oh Lord,
yeah,
that's scary.
On Sunday, it's just because there's some guys in here. But on Sunday, we went to like practice like dancing, and so that was really cool.
Oh, that's fun. I know.
Yeah,
yeah, that's cool.
That was really cool. So we had
that's good exercise. That's how we're gonna say it. That's good exercise.
Right. It was
Slow it down.
Exactly. So anyway, but I had an eventful weekend. I really did.
G, if you watching, notice she did not say anything about coming to Brick House.
Oh,
she just completely blew us off. I just want you to know that. Carry on.
I did.
That's okay. I wasn't that important on your weekend.
I
You started your weekend off.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yep. I came to Brick on Friday. So let me tell you. Okay, so at Brick,
what happened?
I was shocked to see my niece and nephew there. For one.
Oh, wow.
But
They were working.
yes, they were working. So I was like, okay, they're working. And but after that, after I got over that, I had fun.
You got over it when they went home. That's when you kicked it and had fun. When you knew Zion and Dyer was no longer in the building,
I definitely had my eye on
turned
you.
up.
Once I saw you, my eye was on.
See what I'm saying? That sounds about right. I was like, okay. She was like, they're gone. Great. Great. But yeah, I had a blast.
That's good.
My weekend felt like a whole week. Like
That's
I had
good.
done so much. So yeah.
That's good.
Awesome. Oh, what's the guy that was singing?
Paul Cannon.
Paul Cannon. Yeah, he's always good.
Yeah. We were packed, so we had a real, brick house, that's what that is. Doc, what's going on in your world?
Well, Habari Gani, everybody.
Habari Gani.
We're getting ready for Kwanzaa.
Okay.
Hey.
I'm very excited about that. I'm in the just finished classes for the semester. I teach Black Studies at some area institutions around here. And
you're not giving out those names?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm on break now.
Okay, I hear you.
Yes. Okay. So just finished finals and get ready to celebrate Kwanzaa. And I think I was invited to share some things about Kwanzaa. So
yes, ma'am.
Let me know when you're ready for me to roll on that.
We're going to do our segments, and then I'm going to fall back, and we're going to do our thing on Christmas, Kwanzaa, and family traditions.
Yes. Did I introduce myself properly?
Introduce yourself.
I'm sorry. I'm
Did y'all used to play that? Did you play that when you was young?
I did.
Introduce yourself. Right on.
Yeah, I played that.
I'm like, look.
And we had a little dance.
Anyway, a double Dutch game, all of that, yeah.
My name is Sister Dr. Safisha Nzinga Dela Cahill.
One more time.
Sister Doctor.
Safisha.
Nzinga.
Adeleke.
Hill. I am a Afrocentric scholar, activist, Mama Iya.
All of that. And some. I love it. She go hard on her. And I love it.
And a lot so much confidence.
Yes.
I used to be 20.
Not that long ago. So look, tell them what Habari Gani means.
Habari Gani is Swahili for what's the news?
What's up?
What's going on?
Habari Gani.
What's up?
What's up?
So it's a greeting that we give during Kwanzaa. Okay. And so I will share that when my time comes.
Yes.
But that's what Habari Gani means.
Yes. All right. Shout out to the homie. Can I get some? Shout out to the homie, Daryl G. Alexander, who is not here with us tonight, but we will see him again soon. I'll see him tomorrow. Let me give you guys our lineup for the week. So, on Mondays, we have our conversation from 6 to 8, and followed by Straight from the Hip from 8:30 until 10. The conversation is a real cool show. It's about 5 of them, and they just talk about all types of different things. Very family-oriented show. Straight from the Hip is an urban. They focus a lot on artists, like the up-and-coming local artists. So it's real cool. So that's Monday. Tuesday, of course, is the Black of the Berry, the OG of HighVibe Media Marketing Group.
Turn up.
So that is on Tuesdays from 8 to 10. And then on Wednesdays at Brick House Lounge, we do a live show. It is called A Man's Point of View and a Woman's Point of View. Sometimes it's men, sometimes it's women, sometimes we bring them all together. Real good. We get into some real strong conversations. Live broadcast, so y'all can come out to Brick House and hang out with us, get some food, get some drinks, and have a conversation with us. That's at 8:30 every Wednesday. And Thursday, we have Sports Rehab with V, who is a sports fanatic on 10,000. So they get into that conversation. V and Jimmy, real good show. So if you guys are looking to do any shows with HighVibe, get at us. Our social media, our email address is HighVibeMediaMarketingGroup@gmail.com. I know it's long, but oh well, that's what it is. Drop us a message on our social media. Everything is HighVibe Media Group. All right, so I said all of that. Dang, G, we don't have no music.
I know.
All right, sis, come on. We're going to do we're going to start off with our history.
Why he out absent?
And then I'll come back.
Okay, so I'm doing somebody very current. Every time I pick a Black History fact, I think about G, and I'm like, he's always talking about somebody old, right? So I'm doing somebody that's very current. Her name is Reverend Dr. Iyanla Vanzant. So I'm sure people are familiar with her because she's been on the Oprah show.
Iyanla Vanzant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's been on the
Fix
Oprah
Me,
show.
Iyanla. Yeah.
Yeah, she has her own show. She's been on Oprah about 10 times. I'm sure everybody knew that they had fell out once before, and then they got back together as friends and all of that stuff. But what was interesting about her is that she had a rough start in life, and how she kind of pulled herself up from the bootstraps and just kept it moving, kept it pushing. Like each time, she was born in the back of a taxi. So right there, you know. You know that it's about to be, you know what I'm saying?
A story.
Yeah, it's a story. So her father, he was a petty criminal. He wasn't in her life. And her mom died of breast cancer, so she had to go live with other relatives. And at some point, I think she was about 9 years old, she was sexually assaulted by a relative. She ended up having, I think, 3 children. Her oldest, or her first child, died of some type of cancer when she was about 36 years old. So from that point, she went into a state of depression. She was suicidal.
Wow.
She became bankrupt. She was
she
homeless. You know what I mean? So she went through a lot of changes. She was even in an abusive relationship. So she just kept kind of bouncing back from those changes. She went to school, became a lawyer, realized that she didn't really like the area of law, and from there she went to what is that? It's like she went to go be an ordained minister. But what is the name of the school? What is that called?
Seminary.
Yeah,
seminary,
but they call it something else. Not the school, but the act, like the type of degree it is. What is it called? Some kind of religious degree.
Theology.
Yes. So she went to school for theology. And so now she's an ordained minister and a motivational speaker, and she has written several books. It seemed like her books usually come out, she writes books based on her experiences when she had low moments in her life, like when she had when she hit a low point, she wrote a book and came back up. So now, of course, she has that TV show, Fix Me, Iyanla.
Iyanla.
It's a L-A.
It's silent. Iyanla. Iyanla Vanzant.
Vanzant. Okay. But that's it. I mean, she was very interesting to me. Just, she went through so many trials and tribulations, but she was able to come back stronger than ever.
She's very inspirational.
She used it for her benefit, though. I think that's important, that in her low time she wrote a book, which I think a lot of people don't have the will to do, find something creative in their low points of life.
Yeah, and
Healing.
make it work for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So shout out to
Iyanla Vanzant.
That's interesting.
All right, I'm doing something quick. I'm gonna put it out there, talk about it a little bit. It's an African proverb. If you think you are too small to make a difference, you haven't spent the night with a mosquito.
Dang.
Let's talk about that one just a little bit. Who wants to give me their interpretation on that?
Go ahead.
It's so
Read it
easy.
one more time.
Mosquitoes can pass diseases, obviously, and those... Oh, my apologies. Mosquitoes, obviously, we all know about those annoying things. They can kill us, literally. And it could happen overnight, and I'm guessing that's what he meant. Or the quote. Can you repeat it again, please?
I can. When I put my glasses on. Okay. If you think you are too small to make a difference, you haven't spent a night with a mosquito.
Yep. Because just like that, the next day you could wake up with, this life-threatening disease that could end you just like that, just from this little bug. This little bug.
I mean, not even just, a life-threatening disease. They're annoying. The sound of them, the small little, nicks they give you, the little mosquito bites.
You're itching for 2 weeks now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is a life-changing thing. And this little thing has, so there's nothing too small, really.
Yeah. They know their power.
What else? I mean, shoot, it just get on your nerve all night long. You trying to sleep and in your ear and all of that. So mosquitoes can be.
We had an infestation once.
I also think that just in people in general, like you never think that you're insignificant, never think that you can make that you can't make a difference in your life or someone else's life. They say that even a smile, like if you walk, past somebody on the street and you give them a smile, like you never know what that smile may do for that person. So even the smallest things count. So don't ever think that you are insignificant or too small or, to make a difference or a change.
It's usually the smaller things that tend to make the biggest difference anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anybody else want to chime in on that before we go to the next part of our...
Come on, Sister Doctor.
Come on, Sister Dr. Queen. All them names, I know you got something.
Well, what do we do when mosquitoes come around us?
We shoot
them. If a person is always shooed away, they think that they're insignificant. And they think that, but when we're shooing, the mosquito is getting our attention. Whatever we were doing, the mosquito takes our attention away from it and says, look at me, I'm here, notice me. Notice me. And I think that when an individual feels that he or she cannot make a contribution, that they don't make a difference, sometimes they have to make a little buzzing sound. They have to keep
I'm here.
Going back and keep going back. Because when you shoot, do I go away?
No.
Do I say, really? I'm coming back because I got something to say.
Right.
And in fact, there's a wonderful children's book that you should read someday. Why mosquitoes buzz in people's ears? It's an African tale.
That.
Yes. So you kind of understand that.
Very much so.
Yes. Ashe.
It says what now? Why does a mosquito bug?
Why do mosquitoes buzz in people's ears?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm trying to post this link on your page and it won't let me.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give it to you.
Because I got folks trying to watch.
So look, I just sent it to you.
Okay.
Via text, and you just take that and post it on your page.
Okay.
And Zai can do the same with all of y'all.
Okay.
If y'all don't do Facebook, huh? That's for us old people.
I'm trying to get into it.
That's crazy to me. I can't.
It's hard.
It's hard. I don't know
too
how
many
to work it no more.
things you can do.
Like after like 7th grade.
Yeah.
Wow.
My 18-year-old said that's for old people.
You're
Mama.
right.
I said,
Right. That's what mine said too.
No. There's plenty of young people who still are very much into Facebook. However, it's
It's a good tool.
It's just not, what I do.
It's not what that is for the millennials. That's for us.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So I'm going to fall off. We're going to take a real quick break. You got a song for us, son? He going to get a song for us. And when we come back, it's going to be a real quick break. When we come back, Zion Iman will be here. I'll be behind I'll be producing. And we're going to talk, we're going to learn about Kwanzaa. Sister Dr. Queen is going to take us through the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. So go get your pens and your pencils.
Yes.
Get your children and let them learn about some new traditions, because this really isn't that old. A lot of people think because it's African centered that it's old tradition from pre-slave. No, this is a newer tradition that we want people to really start to gravitate towards, because in all honesty, if we all adapt the principles of Kwanzaa and live by those principles that you will learn very soon, 7 days a week, the entire world will be a different place. If you only do it, your world will be a different place. Very good, strong principles to live by to create people of character. So we're going to talk about that. When we come back, we're going to talk about Christmas and family traditions. So hold tight and we'll be right back with you.
Hey, and this is that underground, that basement shit, yeah. This for my little sister, my mother, first place, and all my brothers, straight up. Oh yeah. Blessings to family. Poverty, let me see honor in those who care for me. The city stuck on my shoulders, I hold it carefully. I do this shit for my soldiers who want the best for me. This is a ghetto melody. Fuck them niggas who slept on me, and fuck them bitches who come and kick it and call me gifted. When I was timid, they acted distant cause I was different. But now you see me growing up and y'all don't wanna miss it. A little ironic, I'm smoking that chronic. Yup, I'm rhyming hypnotic, I'm feeling iconic. Yup. So me and that kid, we gon' get it. Me and Andre, we gon' get it. As long as you stay consistent, as long as you making a difference, as long as you dream, you can wake up and live it. This that new home, back and forth between two homes. Neither one of them yours, but you tell your girl this your new home. Really, she know you're lying, but deep inside you are trying. So when it's your turn to shine, she'll tell you what's yours is mine. Yeah. Really, I'm kidding, no, really, I'm not. Really, I'm stuck, guess I'm stuck in a box, trying to bite off the lock. I'm eating these beats instead. Wanna feed these streets, really all I need is a piece of bread. But bet, if I'ma change for the better. I love the sunshine, but it can't shine forever. If ever it should rain, we'll get rained on together. Cause you have been a friend to me. You have been a friend. This for the kids from the mill to Chicago. The present is a gift, but the kids are tomorrow. I'm trying to make sense of a world full of sorrow. So promise you'll be there for me. I promise I'll be there for you. If I'ma change for the better. I love the sunshine, but it can't shine forever. If ever it should rain, we'll get rained on together. Cause you have been a friend to me. You have been a friend to me. This for the kids from the mill to Chicago. The present is a gift, but the kids are tomorrow. I'm trying to make sense of a world full of sorrow. So promise you'll be there for me. Now everybody say rags to riches. Do rags to riches. I know I could get it if I push it to the limit. I say rags to riches. Do rags to riches. I know I could get it if I push it to the limit. Ay, rags to riches. Do rags to riches. I know I could get it if I push it to the limit. Ay, rags to riches. Do rags to riches. I know I could get it if I push it to the limit. Ay, if I'ma change. Hey, y'all remember, and it's alright, I'll never change. Let's bring it back, let the beat ride, just let it ride. Good times must rise, and promise you'll be there for me. Sometimes I'll be there for you. This for the kids, you can't be afraid to be yourself. The present is a gift, that's the only way you can ever be real. Trying to make sense of it. So promise and that's that underground basement shit, that basement shit. Coming to you live. The 817 to the 414. You know?
And the display here, I have this up in my home year-round. And it's really very simple. If you understand anything about revolution, you know that the colors, you recognize the colors. The red, black, and green are from the African liberation flag that was created by Marcus Garvey. The red represents the blood. The black is for the people, and the green is for the land. These are essential things that we need to survive. And so the colors of red, black, and green, well, we refer to as the African liberation colors, because when you have these things, when you understand, then you're free. Okay? And the principles are very simple. He wanted to make the connection to Africa. So he used the language of Swahili, which is spoken in East Africa, but is common, more of a trade language. So many people knew and understood the language of Swahili. And there are 7 days. Kwanzaa is celebrated December 26th through January 1st. I've celebrated Kwanzaa personally for about 25 years now. Okay, the first thing that you do is you get your set here, and let me see. If you can see the mat here, it's a wood mat, a straw mat that you put down, which is for the foundation. The mat is called a mkima. Say mkima.
Mkima.
I'm sorry, mkika.
Mkika.
That is the straw mat. Then you have the kanara,
Kanara.
which is the candle holder. The 7 candles represent the 7 days. The first day, celebrated December 26th, is Umoja. Say Umoja.
Umoja.
Umoja means unity. Umoja means unity. The second day is December 27th, which is Kunji Chakalia. Say it.
Kunji Chakalia.
Self-determination.
Yeah.
Who are you? Who defines you? Because for many years, people have defined black folk. We've had all these different name changes. We don't even know what to call ourselves now. Because first, we were African when we were in our right mind. Then we were kidnapped. And so, you know, this term Negra, it is, historians think that the Europeans who took us, the Portuguese, the Dutch, all those folks, had a hard time speaking. And so the Niger River, they apparently were trying to say Niger, but they couldn't say it, so they said Negra. This is what some historians say. So they began to call us Negra. Then when freedom came, we became Negro. Negro is Spanish for black thing. And then somewhere along the line, we became colored. And then we went back to Negro, and then the revolution came, and we said black. Black power, black power, black power. Then they also call us Afro-Americans because we started wearing the Afro thing. We became Afro-Americans. And then Jesse Jackson came and said, let's just be African-Americans connecting to a home base. And now some of our young people are confused, and they just call us niggas, which is really sad, but you know, we have to work on us, because nigga is what they call your ancestors before they put the rope around his or her neck and threw it around a tree. Nigga is what they call your mother ancestors before they raped her or before they raped the children. So nigga is not a term of endearment. We pretend that it is. It is not. It is not. Nigga is not a term of endearment. So please don't get confused. We are Africans born in America. I consider myself an African in America. Drop me off anywhere on the West Coast, East Coast, somewhere, they're going to say, what's up, fam?
Right.
That's what they're going to say to me. So self-determination. The third day, December 28th, is Ujima. Say Ujima.
Ujima.
Collective work and responsibility. Working together, collectively, being responsible. Being responsible, making sure that you take care of your family, of your business, of your community. The fourth day is Nia.
Nia.
No, I'm sorry. Ujama. Ujama is cooperative economics. That means spending black. Spending black. Taking your money, going somewhere and spending with some black folks.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to find black folks to spend with. We just got to drive around sometimes and look and spend your money. It's real simple. The fifth day, Nia.
Purpose.
Nia is purpose. How many of you know somebody named Nia? It's a popular name. You know somebody named Nia. Some of you might be named Nia. You got some people named Nia?
Yeah.
See, Nia. Nia's purpose. Nia's purpose. The sixth day is Kuumba.
Kuumba.
Creativity. Are we creative?
Yes, we are.
See, back in my day, we had somebody in a house called Big Mama.
Yep.
Big Mama knew how to keep things done creatively. She knew how to go in that kitchen and you know, you look in the refrigerator, ain't no food in the house. Big Mama go in there, she come up with a 5-course meal. What? She's creative. We've always been creative. This is why you have so many black people who have invented things, because we've been creative. This is why we can sing and dance and put things together like nobody else, because we're creative and everybody wants to be like us. The last day, January 1st. No, did I skip a day? Is Imani.
Imani,
Faith. Imani, faith. So it's, and the way that the candles are set up, the first day is Umoja for the black people. On the first day, the black candle is lit. The second day, Kujichakulia, the red candle from this end is lit. The third day, Ujima, I'm sorry, yeah. Yes, Ujima, the red candle on this end is lit. And then Ujama, I'm so tired, y'all. Nia, thank you. Kuumba and Imani. So each day, the first candle is always lit and it burns throughout the ceremony. The other thing, we have the unity cup. You do your symbolic drinking, because we don't want to pass germs. So this is your symbolic drinking. We also have the corn represents children. The corn is what is the corn called? The corn is Muhindi. Is the ears of corn. It represents children. So if you have 3 children, you have 3 ears of corn. If you have 1 child, 1. If you have no children, you put 1 on for those who are going to come someday and bless your table.
Why does corn represent children?
Look at it.
That's a good question.
Look at it. Look at the corn. Corn is healthy. Corn is healthy. And it grows upright. It grows upright. Our children grow upright. And we also have the basket of fruit.
You'll be a pastor too?
No, no. And then we have gifts. Here's the fun part. Children get to make gifts. You know how you watch your mom and them go out and spend all that money for Christmas and they be broke? Trying to buy everybody something. You go into the store today, it's people in there going crazy buying stuff with money that they know that they don't have, that they need to pay bills. When you make something, you're being creative. And it's meaningful. This is something that I give to my students. These are the principles of Kwanzaa. So they'll always remember what Kwanzaa is. And it tells them what Kwanzaa is as well as the principles. I made this.
Oh, wow.
I was creative. The wreath, I made that. That's I spent maybe $3 making a wreath. And so, you know, part of the fun is the family getting together and making things and talking about their life stories, particularly when you have elders. Yes.
I don't want to block you.
Yes. For your elders, you know, part of the Kwanzaa is sitting down with your elders and talking to your elders and talking with your children. A popular gift to give to children are books. Are books. And you can go to Pan-African Connection or the Doc Bookshop and find books about black children with black children on them, written for black children. And that's really important, that children see themselves in books. This poster here is actually one that was given to me, that was signed by Dr. Balana Karinga, who is the founder of Kwanzaa. And he signed it and he said, "To Safisha in struggle, we shall win." So that's really very, very special to me. But what are some questions that you might have about Kwanzaa?
What about the drum over there? Is that
this is a display, because when you set up your table, you can put different things on. I like to put African art. I put books. I have a CD there about Kwanzaa songs. So you put things that are family. And when you have a Kwanzaa celebration, you invite your family and friends. You include the children in the planning of it. There's also on Kuuma Day, there's a Karamu feast where everybody brings food and you sit, and we also say, no pork, please. But we have food, and we fellowship, we have a good time, and they're singing. Sometimes you might ask the elders, can you do a prayer for us? And they get to praying. Hallelujah, yes.
No pork, why?
Because pork is unhealthy.
Why do you think it's unhealthy? I don't eat it either.
Well, because it's swine. Because pig eat anything.
Dead people.
And you are what you eat. So when you get to a level of consciousness, you know, you kind of give up the pig. So, yes. Other questions? Why celebrate Kwanzaa?
Good question.
Can you celebrate Christmas and Kwanzaa? Of course you can. Because Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday. It's not a political holiday. It is a spiritual and cultural holiday. So it doesn't matter what your faith is. Can non-black folks celebrate Kwanzaa if they want to? Yes. Yes. Why live by the principles?
I always encourage people because, again, if you really look at the principles, there's no debate in living by principles that will set you up to be a better person. It's just character building to me.
Yes.
You know, so it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your faith is. And one of my biggest struggles is people who are Christian that feel like it's anti-Christian. It's so not anti-Christian. As a matter of fact, these are principles that most religious people should strive to live by anyway. They're just called something different because we're using Swahili terms.
Right. And the other thing with it is that we must understand that we've been miseducated. So many of those in the pulpit have been trained to be anti-black. For example, you will very seldom walk into a black church and find the red, black, and green flag. You will very seldom walk into a black church where they will sing the National Negro Anthem, unless it's February.
Or if they even know
what that is. So a lot of people
well, they have to put it on the program in February. And see, pastors say on the fourth Sunday in February, you can dress up like Africans.
You can't be African no other time of the year.
So you have stores like Pan African Connection and Gozies, other African stores where they have clothing where people go in and they'll bring buses in to buy that one outfit because pastor said on the fourth Sunday we can be African.
Right.
So they'll come and dress up on the fourth Sunday.
Right.
And won't wear it again all year because they are too ashamed to be African because they've been misled that you're not African. They say, oh, I got Indian in me. I said, well, I'm from Oklahoma, so I might have some. What tribe are you from? And they don't know.
Exactly.
So what makes you think you got Indian if you don't know the tribal language, you don't know the customs? The other thing about this is that it brings people together. It brings communities together. Earlier, I agreed with Habari Ghani. On the first day, you call, or when we have the opening ceremony, we'll say Habari Ghani, and the response is Umoja. The second day we say Habari Ghani, the response is Kuji Chakalisa. Whatever the principle is, that is the response. Also, what goes into is a pouring of libations. Libations, calling on your ancestors. Now, some folks have issues with this, but you know what we do in the church house? We go to the altar. And what do we do at the altar?
Call on the Spirit.
Call on the Spirit. And what Spirit are we calling on? Jesus. In my home church back in Oklahoma, there was this big thing in the front, and it said, do this in remembrance of me. When you take the Umoja cup and you're pouring libations, you pour water and you pour it into a plant, and you're calling on your ancestors. Because we must understand that we are only here because our ancestors survived.
We are because
they
are. I'm sorry.
I am because
I am because you are. Sankofa. That's not Sankofa.
No, that is Umbata.
Umbata.
And what
Sankofa is?
To go back and fetch it.
Okay.
And what we have to understand about libations, when you call on your ancestors, Big Mama knew. Their mothers. Most of us don't know the names of our great grandparents because we have not researched it. We don't understand that somebody came over on a slave ship and survived. That's why we are here. Because not everybody made it. So if you grew up in a household where you had a grandparent or you have a grandparent and they have these old ways, you better pay attention because those old ways got us through. I saw something on Facebook and it was about how people would talk in a different language, things that would mean something. Icebox, refrigerator, or earbobs, earrings. I said, that's what my mama said. She called it an icebox. And it was saying that, we used to have our own language. Coming out of slavery, we developed our own language so that we knew what we were saying to each other. If you listen to old folks talk, they'll say things like, what's an icebox? Some of you like, what is an icebox? Well, it's a refrigerator. Think about it. There's a box in your house that got ice in it, right? It's an icebox. And so when we remember our ancestors and when we honor them, we keep their spirit alive within us. If you did your family research, you will find somebody in your family liked music in your background. Somebody in your family was an actress or performed, or maybe on the plantation she had to perform to keep out of stuff, to make sure things were going right. So we have to realize that we belong to somebody before we belong to mom and them. And so honoring our ancestors is very important and it's essential.
And it's powerful. Like, I feel like because in our house, my mother, we have a plant and we got our ancestors' candles and then we pour our libations in there. I think just having that presence, if you walk into my house, you can feel the vibe.
Yes.
And I think just having that presence in your life, you're having the altar and not being afraid to tap into who you are and who you've always been is strong because, like, I believe that nothing ever dies.
Right.
And so, like, some people call it the ether, but I feel like the ether is where your ancestors rest.
Yes.
And so by having that ability, you get access to knowledge that, like, for me, I might write something and not know how I wrote it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm tapped in. And I feel like when you access that ability, when you access that energy, you bring out a higher level of potential in you because your ancestors are working for you without you even knowing.
Exactly.
And by you being aware of it, awareness is the key. Like, once you're aware of how energy works and how things work in your life, then you're able to see it manifest, and then it starts to manifest faster.
That's the level of consciousness. Have any of you ever been somewhere and something happened and then you said something told me?
Yeah. All the time.
What is that something that told you?
I don't know. I feel like it's the God in me that told me.
It's the God in you.
Yeah.
Big Mama Nina. Nana. And see, the other thing is that those names that we use, Nana is grandmother. And it's a term that I've heard other people say, like, Nana, okay, that's grandmama. Baba is father or grandfather. When you want to say Baba Tunde, Baba returns. We say, you look just like your granddad. Or you act just like so-and-so. Old folks will tell you, you act just like so-and-so, or you look like so-and-so. You never met so-and-so. But how is it that you act like them and speak or move? Well, because they're a part of you and they protect you. I believe that we have ancestors who protect us.
Definitely.
And if we listen, we might even know who they are.
And it's a specific frequency. Like, you don't... It's like if you're playing a sport, you might naturally have the ability to just shoot a jump shot and it goes in. But the more you shoot that jump shot, the more it'll go in.
Yes.
So the more you listen to that intuition or you tap into that frequency, the louder it gets.
Right.
And then the more available it is.
Exactly. I teach a course on black families, and I have a student who plays basketball for the institution. And in his research, he found out that his great-grandfather played ball and that he was very good. He never knew that. And had he not done that research, he said, this is where I get it from. Or someone else found out that they love to draw their artists. And in doing the research, found out, wait a minute, I had a great ancestor who did this. So when we tap that spirit within, it makes us whole. And this is another part. Why celebrate Kwanzaa? Well, because we're celebrating ourselves, our beautiful black selves, that genius that we tap into. Well, how you do that? I don't know. I just did. If you look at the inventions, if it wasn't for black men, we would not have the cell phone or the computer or the car or the airplane or the chair or the table, just basic things that we use. Black folks had their hands in it. But we don't know it's because we're not taught this. You know, we even in Black History Month, you know, we assume that Rosa Parks was sitting in the colored section, and she was in the white section. Rosa Parks was sitting in the colored section, not the white section. But we get the impression that she was where she was not supposed to be. That's because the history that we get is incorrect. It's not adequate. It's not right. And we don't know how to ask questions because we have been taught not to ask questions, because what did they tell you about church? Don't you question God. Don't you question God. Well, that comes from the master on the plantation who said, I'm God, don't question me.
Right.
And so we grow up in church afraid to ask questions, and when we do, don't you question God? Well, I'm asking you, Mama. Just say I don't know. But we haven't reached that point yet because we still don't know who and whose we are. When we understand who we are, we begin to embrace us. Here's the beautiful thing about when you know who you are and whose you are, you embrace other people, regardless of their religion, regardless of their beliefs, because when you see God in yourself, you know that God exists in other people. They don't always know it. They don't always behave like it. When you can live the 7 principles, when you can practice unity and self-determination, because sometimes people push us down. We have to be determined to fulfill our needs ourselves. When you practice collective work and responsibility and cooperative economics, and when you have purpose in life, and when you're creative, when you have faith, can you just having those things daily and teaching your children and your friends and your classmates, and you all have those qualities, this is why people are afraid of you.
And I feel like so many people are in search of something that's already within. Like, I can see a clear difference in myself of when I was on some, I want to be like Kanye and I want to be like my grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a clear difference. So many people give their power away to people that they don't even know, strangers. But when you look within, you start to see like that stuff works within you. You know what I'm saying? It's no point in searching for something that's already within, or like, because if it's in your code, it's in your code. You know what I'm saying?
I thought it was funny. I heard somebody use an analogy that there was a story of this man who was his power had went out in his house and it was dark outside. And so he dropped his keys and he was looking for his keys, and he was like, well, there's no light inside this house, but there was a street light on outside. So he went outside and he was looking for his keys outside. He didn't even lose them outside, right? His neighbor comes outside and he's like, oh, what happened? What are you looking for? And he said, I was looking for my keys. And he said, I'll help you find them. These two people are now looking in the grass outside under this street light, and there's obviously no keys there. And he says, well, where'd you drop your keys? And he said, well, I dropped them inside. Well, why are you looking outside? And I feel like that's an analogy to people. They always, if they lose something in themselves or need to find something or look at other people and their strength in other people and they're trying to find it in themselves, they look for outside resources instead of tuning in and trying to find things within themselves. And I feel like this Kwanzaa is a perfect way to fix that completely. Wow, I feel like I'm learning.
Because I see you smiling.
I'm listening. I'm tuned in.
It's like light bulb.
Well, I mean, because when a people have been taught to hate themselves, and we see it by the way we treat ourselves and each other. We hate ourselves. We've been taught that, because what happens when we love ourselves? Oh, that power. Black girl magic is real. Why do you think that the women know? When your mama told you she had eyes in the back of her head,
she really did.
You wonder how she know that, because your mother knows what you're doing, or you about to do something. Like, how you know? Because she done told you I got eyes in the back of my head. That's that magic. that's that magic, and it's unique. I think really black women have a spirit that's very different because of what our mother ancestors endured, and they still here.
Yep.
And so we listen to that spirit and see. It's something about when you give birth. It's like the spirit just grows stronger. And I have an 18-year-old, and when she was younger, I used to tell her, "I know what you're ready to do." And she's like, "How you know?" And she began to say, "You know what? My mama know." She began to understand because I would predict things. How you know? Because I'm your mama. Yeah, you feeling that, right?
What you got that look on your face for?
I mean, I've never gotten away with anything. My mom might not have.
And you tried, didn't you?
Yeah, she might not have felt like it was. She might have let me learn lessons on my own, but I always went up to my room knowing, like, dang, I got caught. You know what I'm saying?
And she would let you do that because she knew it would mess with you.
Even more. Like it's even worse trying to figure out if you're in trouble or not than just being in trouble. Because you like, dang, I don't even want to ask. Like, I don't know.
You don't want to give yourself up.
I don't know. Should I go downstairs right now? I don't know.
And the beautiful thing is that it keeps going because the same thing that you experienced, she experienced, and her mama and her mama and her mama. But we don't know until we begin to have conversations with each other.
Because I didn't get away with nothing. Nana knew everything.
Yes. This is one thing about Kwanzaa when you sit down, because the very first time I celebrated Kwanzaa, I think I was living in Kentucky, and I went home to Oklahoma.
Oh, you used to live in Kentucky.
I know, bless your heart.
I'm glad I got out.
And I made my family. I said, we're going to have a night of Kwanzaa. So on the 26th, everybody come to the house, uncles, aunts, I bought clothes so that I could dress them up. I would have a kente hat or something, so everybody came, I put something on them. They're like, okay. Then I said, well, we're going to start with the prayer. And we asked my mother, who was the eldest, may we please have permission to begin. So you always honor the elders and ask them, because there's a proverb that says, it is best to think you are a fool, for others to think you are a fool, than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. The elders know who the fool is. And the elders are not going to say, yeah, no, boy, sit down. You don't need to say nothing. So you always ask elders for permission to begin any ceremony. And then you begin. And then you pour the libations because you want to bring in the ancestors. And then you begin to have the discussion. And you talk to the children. You talk with them. You don't talk at them. And you let them engage in the conversation. And you learn about, well, what was like when you grew up. You have the children ask the elders, what was like when you grew up? If a child is 8 years old, what did you do when you were 8? And so you begin to connect with your family. And that's really, again, Kwanzaa is a celebration of family, community, and nation. But it starts with the family.
Doc, I have a question.
Yes.
And I'd also like some of them at the table to chime in, too. I think that we sometimes put our history at risk because we don't talk about it enough. Like, we know surface stuff, but like the stories and the traditions and things like that, like you said, just telling the different, and it doesn't have to be anything majorly significant. It's just stories in life.
Yes.
And I think we're living in a time, and I know I'm guilty, we're living in a time where everything is so fast-paced, we don't sit down together for dinner or breakfast or anything. Like, me and my children used to eat breakfast and dinner together every day. Now I really don't even remember the last time we did that. You know what I mean? But then there was a closer bond because we talked. We talked about, what happened at school, or, what was going on at, when we were in Milwaukee, what was going on at church, or now that we hear stuff in the community. And we're starting to lose something that's so precious because we don't pass on, we don't value that intimate time that I really think Kwanzaa, I think that's the center of Kwanzaa, is bringing back the intimacy with your family, and family not being limited to just, it's good to practice it at home, and that's fine. But if you go outside and practice it with your community family, it's still trying to bring that big family closer together, and that love and that intimacy. And for me, my favorite part of any ceremony is two. One, when we do ask our elders for permission, because I think in our minds, and I see this, we're losing this. We're losing the I don't know if the difference is the right word, but we're losing the reverence that we once had for our elders, outside of people who study and who practice African traditions. We don't really respect elders like we used to. So that to me is a form of reverence, which is a protection, really, because I believe in the spirit world, when we have that reverence for our elders, there's certain things we won't do in front of them, certain things we won't say, certain things we won't do, period, because we know our elders won't approve of it. I think that's how we're getting so far from the center of our core. I don't know if you all can follow what I'm saying. I do love and respect the drive of the millenniums and the individuality, and they're not afraid of anything. They're creative.
You feel like
they're independent. Well, I love that about millenniums. This, y'all not afraid to do anything. Like my daughter ready to go here, my son, both of my boys going in different. I like that. I like to keep them close, but I'm glad that they're not afraid. But I also feel like in that independence, we're losing the reverence for our elders. And our elders really are our guides. Like, I look at, both of my parents are gone, but I really see them as my guides. Because I feel like they can see life from a different perspective. And just because they transfer from one life to the next does not mean that they don't still love me, and they're not still looking out for me and making moves for me. So I feel like when we go in our own direction so much, we're missing our core. I don't know.
Well, and I agree with that, because we're not as close as we are.
Right.
We don't recognize tradition even when we see it. There was a film years ago called Coolie High. And I remember the part where the brothers did libation. They poured out that little cheap liquor and said, "Yeah, for the brothers who ain't here." That's African tradition.
Yeah.
Without knowing it, and when I thought, I recognized and
That's
see.
Tupac's song, "Pour Out a Little Liquor."
Here's the thing: is that when we understand, we see it and we recognize it. And so a lot of young people do things, but they don't know what they're doing. In black communities, we have certain things that kind of no one else knows. I'll give you an example.
Oh, we can get up.
Yeah.
Yes. I did this in a class of students, and all the black students fell out laughing, and the white students like, "What happened? What did she do?" Because they have never seen it. And see, you're young and you knew. I call it the church finger.
Yeah.
Not the finger, the church finger.
Excuse me.
And see, here's another thing. The elder brothers did this. Young brothers do this.
Yeah.
That's the whole conversation. How are you doing today? How's your family? You look well. That's the whole conversation. But the elder brothers did this. Y'all do that.
Yep. What's up? How you doing?
Right.
And we are expressive. I give this example to my students, and they fall out laughing. If you go to a movie full of black folk, see, that's all I had to say. I heard and laughed, and why?
Because we are tripped when we go to, when we're in a collective.
It's not even just a movie.
Yeah, no, just when we're in a big group.
Just even I could walk
for
into
real.
a room full of black people in just a community of people,
Right.
and immediately it's a family. Like,
But really, my
You
favorite
can't
thing,
hear nothing if it's an action movie,
Yeah.
because we talk, "Run, fool!" We
in
get
a
into
scary
it.
movie, no.
We get into it,
Yeah.
and that's just the nature, because we are interactive. We just that's what we do. And even having a conversation, I have a colleague who shared with me that he was at a campus in Tennessee. And the librarian called him up and said, "Doctor, there's some black guys there, and they're getting ready to fight." She looked into the window, and they're doing all this. What were they doing?
Crumping.
There was no music, but
They were having a conversation.
about what?
Something they really.
Yes, they're talking about the game. They were talking about the game, but they weren't like it was a really great game.
Oh, that
they
was
were
a
like,
rigorous
"Oh man, you
game."
see that?" Because when you watch black men talk about sports,
Oh my God.
very expressive.
Yeah.
But the little old white lady said, "Oh my God, they're about they're going to fight." No, they're talking about the game because she did not understand what was going on. Oh, they're being aggressive. No, they're talking about the game. And so there are certain things that we do that are kind of unique to black folk.
Laughing. When we laugh on something funny, we get out the group and come back into the group. We gotta run from it.
I mean, so you know, the other thing, and I'll stop there. But in church, what do we do on the fourth? Is it the first Sunday?
Communion.
Communion. If you've ever been to a Yoruba spiritual gathering, what color do they wear?
Whites.
And what color do we wear on communion in church?
White.
White. What do we do at communion? Drink. We're pouring
pray over it.
libations because you're pouring that out. That's the libation. What do we do at Yoruba ceremonies? We pour libations. We did. What tongue are you speaking in when you're speaking in tongues?
You don't know.
And how come it's unique to black folk?
I ain't never heard no white person speak.
I've never spoken tongues, but I've experienced it.
I've seen somebody do that.
If you,
But see, now if you turn on television, because it's become popular. White churches used to sit like this. But then let's be a little bit more exciting because look what they do. So let's I mean the same thing, and yes, I'm saying this out loud. People steal from us. They copy from us. Even
Culture vultures.
even church. It's like y'all ain't been running down the aisle shouting and doing no. But then like it's more exciting. Let's do this now. When? When it happened? Well, because it's more exciting. White preachers did not do the sing-song preaching like the black preacher, but now they it's like wow, it's the whole show.
Yeah.
And when you pay attention, you know where it comes from.
Yep.
You know where it comes from. So you know it's some things that we're connected to, and we don't always know it.
I have a question.
Yes.
I agree.
So what would you say for people who... Oh, bless you.
No, go ahead.
Okay. For people who, you know, see and recognize the traditions, especially like me because I'm biracial, so I live these traditions with my dad, and then I, you know, switch over and go to my mom's church and see the same things. So as far as, like, how do you think as black people should we take to or like what should our interpretation of this be?
I think that we just have to recognize for what it is. I mean, we
Awareness.
can't
But
go
how
and
do we
say you
respect
can't
that?
do that.
I know, but I'm saying like how do we respect the fact and it's capitalized on constantly.
Exactly,
So how do
exactly.
we, you know, appreciate this with still with an open mind of still appreciating people as people and knowing that this
Cultural appropriation happens
Yeah, but I mean how like
everywhere.
yeah, that's true.
I think.
And all we can't take it back because we gave it away in the first place.
I think Doc.
Well, how would you say we
Let
gave
me
it
see
away?
if I understand the question. Are you asking, like, if someone was to take something from another culture, how do the person who took it show appreciation for it?
No. How do we, as the taken from, consistently in America and as, you know, just
I think
as
we
people-
have a very big part in the reason why our stuff gets taken is because we're always just like, you know, we see, you know, another race doing our stuff, and we're like, oh, that's so cool. They doing it. They doing it like us. And then we hype them up and hype them up and hype them up. So now this person is on this platform, and we're all like, oh, snap, well, they got high like that, but here's this person doing the same thing that this person was doing. However, they're of our culture, but we don't support them the same way, because anybody black can do that. But this person of another race, of another culture, is like, oh, snap, that's so cool. You can do that like us. Yeah. Here, let's give you all our praise, and you invited to the cookout now. But you don't get to do the bare minimum to be invited to the cookout.
Right.
You have to.
You're not on the inside.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And I think that's a really big problem, is that we always go in with this idea that everybody who tries to do something like us, you know, oh, they cool, or they trying to be like us. So
example, Eminem. Even though he is a fabulous MC.
Talented, but we boosted him
because
to
he's not the greatest rapper of all time.
To a whole nother. Yeah.
It's not.
What you say is
there's just as talented rappers out there who could flow just as well as him, but we haven't given them the same respect. We haven't given them the same platform.
As far as the answer to my question, as far as saying, so how do we capitalize on our own culture and our own growth as people, and then also respecting the Eminems and the people who do take and do capitalize
you
on
you can like notice and reference it and be like, okay, there goes Eminem. However,
but also here's the greatest rapper of all time,
right. Like, let me show you this. This is what we can do, because I'm not gonna do this for y'all no more, because y'all haven't given us the respect that we deserve. Y'all just keep taking and saying, oh, this is us. This is how we do it. But no. You're not part of us.
I think it needs to be done on both sides. I think the people who are, I guess, taking the culture per se needs to pay homage to, you know, like where they get it from, to the originators. They need to give accolades, you know, just like
they need to.
Yeah,
I think, will they?
Of course, but they need to understand that needs to be, that needs to be understood already. Just like we give them accolades. And
but we can never give, like, we can never, even though we need to. Some people need to go to work and don't go to work. Like, I can't make that person go to work. I can only do what's right for my business.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and you have to you have to understand who you're talking about.
Yes.
These are people who purposely
rape killers,
kidnap, rape people, and then justified it through Christianity.
Exactly.
Justified it through Christianity, and still justifying it through Christianity. So I mean, this is, we have to love ourselves. We have to do what we do, because, you know, I have a colleague who teaches at an area institution, African drum and dance. And it's something about seeing the white girls in the kente cloth just does not do well with my spirit. I'm like, but that's not what you. And then you offbeat, and then it's like, can we have something? Can we have something?
That's how I felt at Zaza this past Saturday. That what you just said. That's how I felt.
And who can blame people? I mean, look at how beautiful we are. Look at how creative and how talented and how godly we are. See, because that's the thing, is that we always forgiving folk.
Yes.
I forgive you. I forgive you.
But it's in our nature.
But exactly. And people who still know it's in our nature.
Yep.
Because I'm like,
wait,
when did you get thick lips?
Yeah.
When did thick lips become in? Because some white girl came around and said, I got thick lips.
Let me get some
and
lip
this is
injections.
cool.
Yeah.
This is cool. You guys think this is cool now? So then everybody jumped on that bandwagon, and now thick lips are cool, even for black girls. However, it was black girls who had the thick lips.
What'd you say, Andre?
I just said even for it. I didn't go into what you said.
Yeah.
Instead of because of black women.
It takes kiss my butt to a whole different level.
You're even cute with it. You even works for you. Exactly.
Yo, I feel like the biggest part of it is, like, I'm reading this book. It's called Awaken the New Earth, and the biggest part, like, a huge step to enlightenment is awareness. And so, just to kind of bring it all together, because I've been thinking about this since she asked the question, basically our traditions are gone. So if you go back and you look at the Willie Lynch papers, the Willie Lynch papers was set up to break a black man, like to destroy our spirits. And you got to ask yourself, if these people back in the Gap are going to go and take that much detail about how they're going to destroy you, tie your legs in different angles and whip horses and set you on fire in front of your wife and your children, you think all of this is by, like, on accident? I feel like awareness says, okay, why are we the only people who going about our days acting like we not in the war, but we getting shot down every day? You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, our values have been taken from us. Like, if you look at what we value nowadays, it's materialism, and like rappers rapping about going from woman to woman, and that's what's cool. You know what I'm saying? But what happens to like the value of being a man and having a wife and having a home, you know what I'm saying, and building that up? It don't sell, but why not? It does sell. They just not selling it.
It's not selling correctly.
Well, because if I'm your oppressor, why would I want you to be lifted up? If I am the one and I know my strength, if I know that I can control you, if I can make you hate yourself and love me, why would I want to change that? Why would I want to be equal with you? Because then I would have to come down from my pedestal.
But the worst part is that what they'll do is they'll get the people that you look up to affirm their agendas. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look up to a Rihanna, or you look up, and it's in your nature to say, yo, that's dope. Dope is dope. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to even look at what Kanye says and be like, yo, you're whack, because the art level is so high. But in reality, bro, what are you talking about in your songs now? Or what are you standing for? And I feel like the time is here for a shift, if you're aware of it, to take back your own traditions. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect, if we keep going the way that we're going, everything is going to be over with. The world will die.
Okay, so Dr. Sister Queen, Sufficient.
Yes, Queen.
Because you kept saying, you mentioned tradition several times, so I don't know if I was writing a paper, if this would be a good transition sentence or not, but I wanted to know, like, what is your definition of, well, not definition, but what is the purpose of a tradition? Like, what is the sole purpose of having traditions? Because I know that a lot of groups, a lot of different groups, I want to say black groups because that's the only thing that I can identify with. They don't usually celebrate paganistic holidays, right? And so they don't really have anything that they celebrate that creates a tradition. So what's the purpose of having a tradition?
Yes, the purpose of having a tradition is to keep your principles pure. It's to keep your lifestyle pure, to keep your family pure, because if you move away from that, there's a different level of respect that is not where it should be. The bond that you can create is raffled up. It's coming apart. Give you an example. I attended a historically black college, and because I grew up in a black community, I understood that I better not call a grown person by their first name.
Right.
I better not do that. When I got to college, at the historically black college, the groundskeeper was Mr.
Right.
The woman that cleaned the toilets was Miss.
There's a reverence. There's a reverence for your
We
elders.
had to speak to our elders.
That's right.
Even somebody in your neighborhood, and if you know that they was the town drunk, it was still Mr. So-and-so. Because as a child, I better not call them by their first name.
Right.
When I went to Kentucky to work there, the little boy who was the student government president met me at a reception and called me by my first name. I had to correct him.
Right.
It's Dr. Hill.
My mom went through that a lot.
I had to correct him. And he got a little attitude with me, and at that time my vice president was a sister from Trinidad, and she talked to me, oh, you must be careful, he's powerful. I said, no, he's a child.
Right.
I'm a grown woman. I don't know what they do in Trinidad, but here you don't call a grown person by their first name.
Right.
Now, what I've noticed is that when I went to the predominantly white campus, the people who worked, oh, just call me Jim.
Right.
No. You call me Dr. Hill. Jim can be Jim all day long, but Jim does not understand. And I would tell other black folks, if you're going into a professional a position, don't allow these young people to call you by your first name. They will not have respect for you as an authority.
Reverence. That's right.
A figure. I don't care if you just graduated. If you are a position where you were a director or something in college, don't let them call you Jim. Because they'll have a different respect for Jim than Mr. Davis.
Do you think that that's just based on, because I think it's anybody, just like you said, the neighborhood drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
With my children, I always taught them to say Mr. or Miss. And then when it became like a personal relationship, I'm cool with you saying auntie and uncle.
You have to always give a title.
But you have to, there has to be a title, because I cannot, you're not on their level, period.
That's the tradition.
You have not lived. That is the tradition.
That's the tradition that we grew up with. And when I see young people, and you better not say hi and what. We grew up, don't say hi and what in my house. That's being disrespectful.
Ma'am.
So when you lose that, there's a rift that occurs.
I feel like my mom, I was not allowed to say like what, because like I would get slapped or something. But as kids get younger, like my mom has like a 6th grader, she can say what now. Like they're just so much more lenient. My mom is Colombian, not black, but they've just gotten much more lenient, or at least my mom has, with her children.
Yep.
As the generations like.
Well, and a part of that is living in America. We try so hard to be Americans that we give up who we are culturally. And there are traditions in all cultures. When I see my students who are Latina and they don't speak Spanish because their parents did not teach them, because no, you must be American. That means give up something of yourself. But wait a minute, to get a good job, they want somebody who's bilingual.
Yep.
So Maria can't get the job because she can't speak Spanish.
And that's her native language.
That's the language
her mama's native language.
That when those people came and yes, when they came and conquered, that was the language. The original language is from the Aztecs, Indians, but that's the language of her people. But she can't speak it. So when she's with her friends and family, she can have a conversation with her grandmother or with her other friends who speak it. So she's out of place.
Right.
And I think that we give up so much of who we are, trying to fit into somebody else's description of what we should be, because people are uncomfortable when you're different, when you're unique, when you're culture.
I experienced
and they'll say, "Oh, you're so ethnic."
Especially with my name, because growing up in
tell us your name again.
My name is Ikemen Ba. If you like, I'll give you my full government name, Ikemen Halima Chikumba. And so, growing up in Kentucky, around predominantly white people, they would find out that my name was Ikemen Ba, and they would click their tongues at me and stuff. But it was mostly the black people who were leading that to happen. Yep. And so I was like, oh my God, because I'm Nigerian and I'm American. And so I didn't really try to know about my Nigerian side at all, because I was just here I am, I only have my name to me, that's all I know right now. And I'm already getting ridiculed and criticized. So I was I don't want to know anything about it, because I don't want to have anything to do with that. If I have to be ostracized by even my own people. So I went through a time where I'd had people calling me Kim or Kimmy, and now I've come to this place where I am trying to, I love my name, Ikemen Halima Chikumba, I love it, but as now I'm trying to learn more about my own culture within Nigeria and being Igbo, and understanding who I am as an Igbo woman, even though I'm not, full Igbo or anything like that. So that's what I had to deal
You
with.
need to connect with the Igbo community here in Dallas. Have you done that yet?
I haven't.
I can introduce you to
Yeah?
some folks, yes.
Bet.
Kedu.
You see, they say that. I know the Kedu, I know Bie, and...
We don't know. Tell us.
Bie means come here.
greeting. It's like, hello,
Yeah.
how you doing? What's
Yeah, it's a greeting, but I don't know how to respond to that.
I'm going to connect you with, I will connect you with your people. They will love you.
Yeah.
They will love you. And so, you know, we just have to understand, I mean, it's a search. We have to search for who we are.
So let's go around the room and find out, like, what are some of the traditions that you guys celebrate, you know? I mean,
In our families?
Yeah, within your family.
Like holidays?
Whatever your traditions are. We can start with you.
Oh. Okay, well, traditions. Well, I grew up Nation of Islam, so we didn't really... Walaikum salam. But we didn't really... So we didn't celebrate much. My mom did Ramadan, but she never really like made us as the kids do Ramadan. So I didn't do Ramadan. I did Ramadan once, and I lasted all 30 days, and I was like proud of myself. But then I never did it again because it was torture on my body. But holidays like birthdays we do. Whenever we see family, like we do Thanksgiving like gatherings. We do 4th of July cookouts. We all come together for that. We don't really celebrate Christmas, and we never celebrated Christmas. Halloween, that was like a no, big no in my family growing up. I think that's it, to be honest. I didn't do much.
Well, for me and my family, one thing that we always kept up with was seeing each other on Sundays. And it was usually at my grandmother's house or my grandmother's mother's house. And this was just to, in my own words, center ourselves back to who we are when we're together. And I don't know, I really liked it. You know, as I'm thinking about it now, I really liked just the atmosphere of being close to my family and feeling like I'm home. But that's just one thing that we practice, seeing each other on Sundays. Personally, what I've gotten into is the practice of praying 3 times a day. And during my prayers, it's almost like the tradition. I do it out of remembrance to remind myself where I was when our Father found me. And I say that because I don't want to fall out of the sphere of growing into righteousness, because where I was is not who I am today. And of course it's a patient thing that you have to be delicate with. But what's going on?
You just funny, bro.
But you know, like I said, with the prayer, I always make sure that I say, what do I say? I say, we do this, exactly what I said, we do this, well, I do this out of remembrance to remind him who he is to me. But I don't know, I'm getting a little tongue-tied right now, but yeah, that's what I do for myself. I think it's very important, you know, because I don't want to go back to who I once was or fall out of the rhythm of being close to, you know, our Father. So, yeah, I mean, personally, that's what I do.
Cool. That's beautiful.
Very good.
That's beautiful. I grew up celebrating all those things. When I asked questions, I was told don't question God. When I got grown, I began to, you know, I was always that different child. I was an old baby who came years later when everybody else was grown. I was that child who always got in trouble for questioning authority in school. I was my friends call me radical and militant. By the time I was in the eighth grade, I started a black student union in high school my senior year. So, you know, I was out there trying to protest and stuff. So I was always that different child. When I grew up, I decided that when I had children, I would not tell my child the Santa Claus lie. So I did not. I did not buy her toys because her birthday is in August, not in December. And I remember that time that we went home to my mom's house, and my child was probably 5, and she said, "Well, we don't do Christmas." Don't tell them that. Don't tell them we don't do Christmas, because I have all these. What you mean you don't do Christmas? Because, you know, I began to ask questions, and I saw the effect that it had on people. And then I discovered Kwanzaa. And I said, I think I'm going to start doing Kwanzaa. And it just kind of happened. And then I said, well, I went home again once from grad school, and it was Thanksgiving. I saw some Native people out protesting. I pulled over, what's going on? And they schooled me and told me that, well, it's a day of mourning for them, because when the Pilgrims came, there was no sit down, let's have dinner. They slaughtered the Native people and kept giving thanks for the slaughter. So I said, well, you know what? On Thanksgiving, I will remember those people who were slaughtered. And not, you know, they said, well, a day of thanks. Why just one day? Because I'm like, how come I can't be thankful every day? So society tells you what to do. And I was already resistant. Like, I don't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I didn't when I was little. So I was just that child. But, you know, we would gather for those holidays. We have turkey and dressing and chicken and dressing and all that. And, you know, we gathered not a whole lot for birthdays, but, you know, usually just for Christmas or Thanksgiving. I don't have a big family now, but what I do is sometimes, well, we just have like a little community thing. Like folks who don't have family, let's come on up here, let's eat. We got to eat, so let's eat and play some music and dance and just do some fun things. And I've raised my child to be independent and to embrace culture. And she was once part of the Kwanzaa Kids and did a performance when Dr. Karinga came in town. And they would go around at the Kwanzaa events and talk about Kwanzaa and do the presentation when they were like 9 and 10. Taught her all 3 verses to the National Negro Anthem when she was 5. So she still knows. When she got mad one time in school because no one knew who Ida B. Wells was, I said, well, baby, you my child. So there are things that you're going to know that other people won't know. And so, you know, raise her up in a black history environment. And all of her sister friends are also raised in that environment. So there's no conflict when she's in the community going somewhere with her friends, because they know. And, you know, we all got the little natural hair and all that. But just, you know, I think that it's important that we understand our culture, whatever your culture is, whatever, and to learn as much as you can about who you are. I did the DNA for my folks. I'm still researching my family. And just, you know, it's important that we know who we are and that we celebrate what makes us happy. That we keep those traditions, because if we stop doing them, then our children will not know. Right. There's a proverb, a story about, and help me with this, about the man traveled to Sumter and asked where are the people, and they hadn't passed on the traditions. So the people did not know what to do because they had not been told. And so if we don't pass down traditions, how will our children know how to pray?
Right.
How will they know how to honor their ancestors or how to speak kind to elders? How will they know to close the door when they go to the bathroom? I mean, just, you know, some basic things, but part of the tradition, the way that we live, the way that we celebrate who we are, the way that we remember our ancestors, because we want people to remember us. And even that's another thing. Black folks have home-going ceremonies, not funerals.
Exactly.
we don't say somebody died, we say they passed away.
Right.
Because
Transition.
we understand that there's a different level where they go to. And even in some African communities, you know, they bury their folks right outside their door. When you leave, and you can speak to them as you're going out. And in African societies, they don't have nursing homes. They don't put their elder away. In America, it's a curse to be old. But in every other culture, it's an honor. In every other culture, the elders are honored. Europeans put their people away because they don't want to, you know, they're still trying to find the fountain of youth. So,
I watched this documentary. It was about ancient Egypt, and they had a thing where they didn't call it. They didn't say, "Oh, they died" or "they, you know, passed away" or anything. They said it was westing because the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So it's just a continuation of the energy of their life. Is that they went west? They just simply are westing.
And sometimes I think in some cultures, people are buried a certain direction. You know, so that's, you know, and find out about other people. And you'd be surprised at how you're connected. The drum is very essential in the African culture, in the Latino, in the Native, in the Asian. The drum is an essential part of who we are. And so, you know, there are things that connect us.
Yes, definitely.
We just don't always pay attention.
So it's your turn. We're still on a question of some traditions that we celebrate within our own families.
I don't notice the traditions. We're very close knitted. Like I live on my own now, and my family is constantly like checking up on me, like, you know, like, don't lose us, you know, like, because sometimes I just kind of isolate myself, and I shouldn't. I should stay close to my family, but we're just very close knitted. We're supposed to stay together at all times. But really, I just need more examples of like traditions. Like
I mean, you have a completely different.
No, I know, but like I just.
Did you have food? Is there a certain type of food?
Like I've been to your family gatherings twice, and we ate the same things, and your family was doing the same things, and it was a certain energy that you guys had that was separate but still specific to you. So even though you might not notice the traditions, like you have one in your culture as a Colombian woman and as a Colombian family. It's just different.
We got the soup. Haley really likes it.
It's really good.
It's basically, like, I guess it's like chicken broth, is it? Maybe? I don't cook it. I should learn how to cook.
You must learn, yes, you must learn.
I need to
because
know.
that's you passing down. There are recipes in families that are passed down.
And I need to learn them, definitely. Definitely on soup, though.
And I have a student from Colombia, and she was talking about the foods, and everybody's like, really? You didn't bring any samples?
Right. I did that one time in high school, and I was ashamed because nobody liked my food. Nobody liked my food, and I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again. Because our food, it's like almost everything in Colombia is fried, but besides that, like we have these, they're called arepas, and what they consist of, it's just corn, and then inside of it, it's like a pancake, let's say a corn pancake, and then inside of it, it's just cheese. But it's a different type of cheese, and it just has like you just have to have like an acquired taste for it. Not everybody likes it. I guess I like it because I'm used to it, and I genuinely think it's good. But other people did not like it, and I was like,
I mean, it's not for anybody else to say that it's good or that it's bad. It's
yours.
just
I was just like, okay, well,
It's something that
good.
connects you culture, so make sure that you maintain that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, that happened to my daughter when she was in school. She brought something from home. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was, let's just hypothetically say like bean pie, right? Like a lot of people don't eat bean pie because it's made out of beans, navy beans, and they automatically think that it's nasty. And she brought it to school, and people was like, "Ew, what's that? Ew," and she tell them, you know, but she think it's good. But they thought it was nasty. So I understand where you're coming from, because she came home and told me about it. But some of the traditions that we celebrate, when I was a child, we used to have like fish fries. like, because I'm from Georgia, so fish fries was like the thing to do at my grandmother's house. Like my uncles, they'll go fishing or they may go buy fish. It just depends on what time of year it was. It was very sporadic, so there wasn't a certain time every year. It was just like usually on a Saturday, maybe even a Sunday, and we'll just be like, hey, we're going to have a fish fry today. And so that was one of the traditions that we celebrated as a family, as an extended family. We acknowledged Christmas and Thanksgiving, but it wasn't something that was at the top of the list. It was just kind of like, my grandma was like, oh, I guess I'll cook something. But it wasn't, but it wasn't like a big deal. Birthdays, we celebrated those, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
So for traditions on my mom's side, my mom's white and then my dad's black. Traditions on my mom's side was very Americanized traditions. So we would, wake up every Sunday, go to church. That was something that we always did. We celebrated Thanksgiving. We would all go to my grandfather's house, and we would all sit down and have like these really like intense talks about life, I guess, about like what we were doing in life, and then eat. And then Christmas was just my mom and I for the most part. So everything on my mom's side was very traditional and intimate. And then on my dad's side, things were a little scattered and sporadic. We didn't really, my dad always would work on Thanksgiving and Christmas for the most part, and I would go with him later to hang out, basically. And then, but we would do like weekends with my brother and I, because my brother had a separate mom. So we would do weekends where we would always go to the pool or go fishing in the mornings. It just depended on what we felt like doing that day. But we didn't really have, at least with my dad, we didn't really have like set traditions that were in household. The only thing that was really consistent was whenever my brother and I got in trouble, he would make us write definitions out of the dictionary. He said, start at A. Oh, wow. Yeah, so that was really the only thing that was consistent as far as a tradition goes. But
I may have to use that.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I'm gonna use it. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna use that with my kids when the time comes. But yeah, I think the thing that was consistent the most was just a sense of togetherness and independence on both sides, making sure that I knew who I was as a person, and that stayed with me, and that I could identify with problems or any question that I had. I was taught to think about it for myself. There was no answers that were really given to me. It was, okay, well, what do you think? And then we'd have a conversation, which I think is a great tradition.
Okay, that's very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my mom texted me. I wasn't just texting. So, I'm from Milwaukee, and I come from like a very spiritual background. My grandfather was a pastor of a church called Amazing Ministries, and so that was like a really big deal growing up. And then on my father's side, my grandparents were Black Panthers. So all of that mixed together, it was like a really big deal, like growing up. Now looking back, I don't feel like we had traditions. I feel like we had like values, like core family values that we had to stick by. And most of it was just like pride. Like you had to have pride in yourself. And you had to believe in yourself because the world isn't going to believe in you. So when I was younger, on my dad's side, my grandfather used to call me the smartest man alive. And I was like 5. I think that played like a really big part of me because now, like, if somebody asks me, like, I feel like I'm one of the smartest people alive, but I would encourage anybody to feel that way. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the smartest man alive knows that he has so much more to learn. You know what I'm saying? And so with that, and then on my grandfather's side and my mom's side, my uncles are pastors. My granddad's
what
a pastor.
What uncle was pastor?
Uncle Ray was a pastor. Uncle Andrick is a pastor. Those are my only uncles.
Okay. I thought you were talking about my uncles.
Nah.
You said on my side. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, my uncles are pastors. So when I was young, I used to like literally sit at the feet of the elders with it. Like we would have Bible studies at my. So we went to church every Sunday because I played the drums at church and I played the congos in church when I was a kid. And we went to church every Sunday. It's crazy because I get a feeling just like even talking about this because it's like deep. But on Tuesdays, I don't know if it was Tuesdays, but I know we would go and we would have Bible study at my grandmama's house, and I would be the kid who had like mad opinions. Like I was 3 years old, like 4 years old with mad opinions about like religion. You know what I'm saying? Like mad opinions. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always felt connected to the source, like very, very connected. And my mom, she like put this energy in me from the jump. And then growing up, I was in this thing called African American Children's Theater. And I used to get mad because I used to play basketball. And I'm like, Mom, why can't I play basketball today? Like, she's like, you just played earlier and yesterday. I'm like, Mom, you want a house or not? Like, I'm trying to go to the NBA. And she's like, it's about balance. So I think that's a big part of my family. It's just that balance between the physical and the spiritual, knowing that you have to do something creative because God is a creator, and to be like God, you have to be creative. And that's like a major part of my family. Is everybody has some type of talent, and you're taught to believe in yourself. You're taught to honor your family. You know what I'm saying? Like my mother isn't going for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I could swear I'm talking like this, but if I go up an octave or if it's a little loud, it's like, nah, I'm not going for like my mom. So that gives me a certain respect for women to treat them a certain way and be gentle. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like mad values. Like my grandmother, she taught me to always work hard, like a man works hard, and to be great at everything you do, no matter what. There's no excuse at it. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was playing basketball, I would get up at 5 in the morning before the sun come up, and I would shoot 1,000 shots, and I'd be done by 9. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll get hot, and I don't want to play while it's hot because I'm gonna be tired. But that gave me a work ethic. So now I have a very obsessive personality to where if I want to do something, I'm gonna do it. But I'm not just about to do it. I'm gonna go ham at it because I was taught at a young age that there isn't a ceiling on anything. So
Beautiful.
I was sitting here trying to think about, I was really almost feeling bad. Like I know my children grew up with so much tradition when they were younger, when we were in Milwaukee, because we had such a family that it was almost ritualistic. Like my son said, Sunday morning we would get up, we would go to church. After church, we go to my parents' house, we have dinner. After that, we hang out until it's time for the children to go to bed. Then we rushing home, giving baths and putting in bed. But it was so, I didn't even realize then, you know, the how powerful that was. And sometimes I feel like they're cheated now. But now listening to my son and even my daughter and my oldest son, it's in them though. You know, so even though we don't still practice the same traditions, that family value is still there based on our traditions. So, and then some other traditions that we do is whenever our collective family gets together, and nobody is really here in Texas but me and my 2 sisters, and I have an aunt here and a cousin, and that's pretty much it. So, and we come from a huge family. So on my mama's side, it was 8 children with a whole bunch of grandchildren. And on my daddy's side, it was 12. Well, it was 14. Then it was 12 that grew up with a whole bunch of grandchildren. So I come from really, really big families. So one of the things that I love, it doesn't matter what the occasion is, if it's a wedding, if it's a homegoing celebration, whatever, we always like Solar said, we do Friday fish fries. It's always on a Friday in our house, and we always sing. Like we always sit around, and one of my cousins or my uncle is going to start with some song that takes us back to when we were really, 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 really little, you know. And so those are some of the traditions that we have. So traditions are very, very important to hold on to because it's a part of your core value. Yes. So yeah, traditions are powerful.
And I feel like growing up, like me and my sister were talking and we came to a conclusion that the reason why we lost so many people growing up, because I lost my grandma like my sophomore year. I lost my grandfather when I was like
young,
8, like 9, you know what I'm saying? And then everything just started changing, you know what I'm saying? But we came to a conclusion that the reason why is because our purposes are so big that we needed a lot more energy, which brings me right back to the same point about tapping into that frequency. Like, I've been making music for 2 years, and I'm very aware that the reason why I can make the type of music I do is because of the place that I make it out of. And it's like, it's with anything, especially any type of art, any type of creation. The level of what you do depends on the place that you do it from. You know what I'm saying? It's not always about how long you've been doing it or how much you do it, but your why behind it. You know what I'm saying? And seeing my grandfather touch somebody and they pass out, like, did something to my mind. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I'm looking at power, and that's my grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I feel like it might not be that extreme with every scenario, but it's still power and self-worth and family pride. You know what I'm saying? Just knowing that there's a certain way we do things here in this family. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I don't know what y'all do in Trinidad, but you're not just finna just, you know what I'm saying? Because that's real. Because at the end of the day, that brings me back to when she was saying, like, why have tradition. If you look at a highway, the thing that separates the two cars from going opposite directions is a barrier. Like, that's what tradition is, so that you don't swerve and crash into different things. It keeps you in line with who you are.
Right.
Look at you. Go ahead, bro. You know, deep.
Deep stuff over here. Yeah. All right, y'all. It is 10 minutes to 10, and we like to do our wrap-up. So the way we like to do our wrap-up is we go around the table, and we just get everybody's final thoughts on the conversation tonight. And then that's it. We just kind of just take it from there and always try to take something away from each conversation. So we're going to start on the right with Ikemen. I want to call you Ikemen, and I think it's because, don't we got a sister in the community named Ikemen? Kima, yeah. So Ikemen. Yes. All right, Ikemen, what you think? Give us a little bit about the conversation and your final thoughts.
I thought it was definitely informational because for me, Kwanzaa has always been like this, and like, kind of back of the mind thought things like, okay, that's what, you know, some black people, you know, do that, and, you know, it's an African thing that, like, I think it was West Africa that started, and then they brought it to America, then we liberated ourselves, you know, okay, cool, but to come here and to, like, actually get, you know, factual information about it was definitely something that makes me want to go and look into it to, like, you know, see how I can implement that into my own life as an everyday aspect instead of just, like, you know, for these 7 days that are celebrated, you know, to take those principles and really, you know, apply them to me and to get to know my culture and my Nigerian culture. Yeah. Yes. Young.
that right there, that look.
Right. Nah, but from this conversation, I think that it was very informative, and everything she was saying made me want to go back and, I'm not just saying this, but made me want to go back and find out more about my ancestry and where I come from, and take more mindfulness on the things that I practice on the daily. And I say that because it doesn't really cross our mind as much as young people, but eventually I'm going to be an elder. And I think that, well, I know that when it's my time to take that seat, I want to implement things in my family that continue to grow and remind us of where we came from and who we are and how we can stay together and how we can spread this word and this goodness and this love that's all in us. But I think that this conversation was pretty fun. I didn't really say much because I'm a person who just likes to listen and soak it all in. But for what it was, I truly appreciate it, and I'm glad I came out.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe is so be it. It is done.
Yes.
And I appreciate the energy of the young folk. I love being around college-age students. You give me a lot of energy, and Kwanzaa is a way of life for me.
Ashe.
And it's easy to recognize other people that it's a way of life for because you're calmer. When you know who and whose you are, it makes you calmer. It makes people more attracted to you. And one thing that my cultural partner, who is now an ancestor, will always say, he would say, I am because we are. We are because I am. We are connected. And when we understand how connected we are and how powerful we are connected, and how things in our culture, it's a piece of something that brings us closer together. And just knowing who and whose we are, that impact. I encourage all of us to dig into our ancestry, to find the eldest person in your family and sit down and have conversations with them. Ask them what it was like growing up. What did they hear about as children? Because we must understand something. You know, my great-grandfather was born into slavery. He passed away in 1950. I had siblings who were born in the 1940s. And I don't know if they ever asked him questions. I didn't ask my grandmother questions. She was born a few years after slavery. But I know that my grandfather had to leave Louisiana. I'm like, what he had to leave for? What did he kill somebody? I mean, the things that our ancestors went through, we got it made. We don't understand that we are here because they survived. So talk to your family, find your tradition, embrace it, and live Kwanzaa.
Live Kwanzaa. I love it.
This, just like you two said, was very informative. I definitely do want to dig deeper into my roots. This kind of made me consider getting on Ancestry.com and possibly paying $100 to see what I really am.
It's 30.
Oh,
It's only $30.
then I'm definitely doing it. It's definitely worth it because I want to know some more. And then on top of that, I mean, I would definitely do this again. I would like to have conversations with you guys, and I'd like to hear everybody's opinions. And I feel like if I was more informed and if I knew more about this holiday and a lot of the stuff we talked about today, I would have definitely talked more. But if next time, maybe if I am invited next time, if we have some topics about politics or what's going on today in the world, I would definitely probably what?
We're brainstorming.
It's like a light
It's a
bulb.
light bulb.
Yeah, well,
We're listening.
Yeah, so I would definitely come back, and I would like to speak my opinion, my voice.
Good. You should. Always.
Pause. Doc, I think it'd be real cool
You do the same thing. If
we
I
have
do a program on because I was thinking about doing that for Freedom Friday.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it'd be cool if we did a live stream at the Act of Change on a Friday night and have them come out and do a panel just like this at the Act of Change in the community.
Let's do it.
We'll talk. Okay, sis.
That was an interlude.
Zai.
Okay, so first, I would like to apologize. Earlier, when I gave the announcements and I was talking about Baba Eshu Deli, I was reading from the paper, but I wasn't necessarily raised like that because we do give titles to our elders, whether it's, Mr. or Sir or brother, stuff like that. So I wanted to correct that off top and just say Baba Eshu Deli.
I say for real though.
December 30th, Nia, it's his birthday, and so that's where they'll be having the lip sync, and at the Act of Change, that's in Dallas.
And he will be there.
And he will definitely be there. Yes, as Stevie Wonder. Also, I wanted to say that Kuji Chakalia is like my favorite of days out of Kwanzaa, just because the name sounds really cool for one. But for two, it means to like identify yourself and create for yourself, right? And I just feel like that's very important because people, it just kind of naturally happens where you allow people to identify who you are. You know, as a child, you're kind of told this is what you should do, this is what you should believe in, and so we're gonna get some of those, I guess, attributes from our family. But once you get a certain age, then you really need to start thinking about like who you are and what it is that you want to do with your life, because at the end of the day, it's your life. And so I definitely believe in creating for yourself and kind of listening to your elders and taking heed to what they're saying, but ultimately you need to make the decision based on who you are as an individual. I also want to touch on the fact that traditions are very, very important. It's like the building block or the bonding block to a family. And I've been having this discussion with an individual for quite some time about having traditions, because like yourself, a big part of my life was in the Nation of Islam, and in the nation they don't really celebrate a lot of things. Like they don't celebrate anything.
Christmas.
Birthdays, like not even a birthday.
Yeah, I know. My mom was like, she was like, okay, we'll do that. I'm fine.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So, but I think that having some type of tradition, something that you can look forward to, because those traditions bring about information, like family information and bonding and things like that, and that's very important to keep your family close knit. So, definitely, whatever traditions that you have as a family, it doesn't matter. You can create your own tradition. You don't necessarily have to celebrate, the traditions that are out there today. You can create your own and make sure it becomes a tradition when you do it over time. That's when it becomes a tradition. So I definitely think that people or families need to make sure they stick with, create, develop, or continue their traditions and keep with it.
So basically what I have taken from this conversation, this wonderful conversation, is I feel like all of these were basically keys to success. I feel like Kwanzaa, togetherness, all of these things correlate in as far as keeping together a society and being an individual. I don't know, I feel like they all go together. This whole conversation meshed together, all of the topics made a whole. And I've been sitting here taking notes the whole time, and I feel like I can walk away from this table feeling like I can be a more successful person, applying the topics and things that we've talked about to my everyday life, not just tradition in the sense of once a year, twice a year, or Kwanzaa being once a year, or Christmas, anything like that. So that's what I kind of encourage everybody else to do too, is find something that you can apply every day, even if it was a lot to take on that you listened to or heard. What can you apply, even if it's in small portions? Because these things they will definitely make me a better person when I step out of this door. So I think it can be the same for all of us.
We do Kwanzaa pretty much every year. We celebrate Kwanzaa pretty much every year, and this conversation was good for me to be reminded about Kwanzaa, and being here just keeps me on my Nia. Yeah.
On your purpose. Go ahead. Thank you.
Nah, but that's it.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna fall in right here. Oh, I want to block. Okay. Right there. Am I right there? right, so this was a great This was a great conversation, and I appreciate all of you guys for coming out. So, my final thoughts are know who you are and be comfortable in who you are. Not so comfortable that you stay that way, because always strive to be a better you. So today, you're good. Tomorrow, you be better than that. And the next day, better than that. And the 7 principles of Kwanzaa can really literally help you to achieve that. Another thing that I would want you all to take away from the conversation, and this is a little different for some people that have not really been taught this. So for some people it may be uncomfortable, but tap into your ancestors. Tap in, because that is where your real power lies. I am a living witness, and my children are too, that life prior to me studying some of the African traditions that I study now and that we study now, life is completely different. And we've changed our reality, literally speaking, by learning to appreciate my elders and to tap into my ancestors, because that's where my power is. And when you do that, you're never by yourself, ever by yourself, because you constantly have the spirit that you grew up with that is familiar to you, looking out for you and talking to you and guiding you and helping you to get to the next step. The other thing that I want you to do is to remember how creative and beautiful you are as people, and specifically people of African descent. Because we talked a little bit about other people trying to tap into our culture and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't speak on that when we hit that topic, but in some ways we really could be flattered by that. We need to be careful to not give away, because that's part of our power as well, but be flattered by that. Know how great you are. The whole world is watching you. Trends are set because of you. People want to cut their hair like you. They want to braid their hair. They go get extensions. They put in locks and all kinds of things to be like you. They get interjections into their lips and their hips and things that we used to feel self-conscious about to be like you. So know your power. Know who you are. And the way that you know who you are is by tapping into who they were and who they are. I am because we are. We are because I am. And if we could say that together one time, and then if Doc could just take us through the 7 principles, we'll close it on out. He got one more thing to say. He got one more thing to say.
Okay. This isn't a big deal.
And don't whisper, because...
Alright, this isn't a big deal, but I just feel like I should say it. Sometimes just sitting by yourself and meditating, you really could tap into that power. Oh, because like when you're because when you're meditating, you're going within, and so when you search within instead of without, you generally find the answer. So, yeah.
Meditation. That's how you connect.
When we close out on our Kwanzaa programs, any programs, we do what is called Harambe. Everyone say Harambe.
Harambe.
Harambe means let's pull together. And we do it in the spirit. We lift up our hands open and we pull down that energy. And it has the feeling, the way that you feel when it's over is beautiful. So we're going to end with Harambe. And you will assist me, please, and we will say the principles. You can repeat after me.
Can I do this too?
Of course.
Oh, yes.
Everyone do this. And again, Harambe means what?
Let's pull together.
Let's pull together. So we reach up and we pull it and we say Harambe.
Harambe.
7
Repeat after
times.
me. Oh, and we do it 7 times.
7 times.
So we say
Harambe.
I say it, and then you say it.
Okay.
Harambe.
Harambe.
Umoja.
Umoja.
Harambe.
Harambe.
Kunji Chakalia.
Kunji Chakalia.
Harambe.
Harambe.
Ujima.
Ujima.
Harambe.
Harambe.
Ujama.
Ujama.
Harambe.
Harambe.
Nia.
Nia.
Harambe.
Harambe.
Kuumba.
Kaumba.
Harambe.
Harambe.
Imani.
Imani.
And one loud Harambe all together and hold it as long as you can. Thank you for celebrating Kwanzaa, and I invite you out to all the events. They are free, and again, they will be listed. They're going to be every day. Some will be like at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock, but there'll be events going on every day. Please go and learn.
Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. And we out. Peace, y'all.
Peace.